You gotta check the YouTube.
I'll do it while you're doing the intro.
Yo, 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 welcome back to the Out the Box Show. I'm John Wells alongside my co-host James Luffy, and we're back. It is game week. Let's go. Luffy, can I get a burr, 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 burr? It is game week. Let's go. LSU takes on the Florida State Seminoles this Sunday, September 3rd at 6:30 p.m. in Orlando as the sun is finding its home in the western sky. LSU, this is a revenge game for LSU. LSU is coming off the tough season opener last year. Luffy, I believe you and I were both there. The game ended on a doink. I remember we were sitting up in, we weren't sitting together at the game, but we were sitting. I was sitting with Brad and Mills, and the LSU drove down the field to try to tie up the game, and they decided to go for the field goal, and the guy doinked it. And I think that kind of sent LSU fans into a little bit of a shock, given that we lost the first game of the season. Didn't have a lot of high hopes for the season after that, and then we end up going 10-2. Kind of crazy how the first game plays out, and then you end up having a pretty successful season, beating Bama, and so on in BK's first year, but it's a revenge game. I feel like the outcome of this game is going to be a lot different than what we experienced last year. Wow. I'm just so excited. I have the jitters. I'm like, my teeth are like chattering. That's how excited I am. Luffy, do you agree that LSU and Florida State are going to have a little bit different of an outcome this year as opposed to last year?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a revenge game. They have a good team coming back. They have pretty much the whole team coming back, and that's a concern. But we hopefully have gotten a lot better. We talked about the O-line being completely different. Jaden, second year, BK, all the coaches coming back. They've added some really good guys in the portal. Talking about Florida State, so it's a top 10 matchup for a reason, and LSU's a 2.5-point favorite when I looked earlier today, and I think there's a good reason for that. But the game could go either way. You're going to have to make the plays and play a complete game, offense, defense, special teams, which we didn't do last year. And it's a revenge game, so that's where you feel good about LSU.
All right. Well, we're going to break it all down. We're going to take a look at the game itself. We're going to take a look at the entire season. We have to wrap up the off the charts segment for this year because it is game week. We're going to get to the D-line and the defensive backs. We thought it was only fitting to end with defensive back university. So we have a lot to get to on this episode of the Out of the Box podcast. It is game week. But before we get to all that, I want to give a huge shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network, bootcrewmedia.com, and on social media at Boot Crew Media. Make sure to check them out. The football content is insane. Like I get my Saints news, like breaking news from Boo Crew Media. They are on top of it like no other. Make sure to give them a follow and check them out. They also have a lot of LSU content as well as other content, even unsports related content. Also, make sure to sign up for the Sportsman's Paradise podcast, Fishing Rodeo, coming up. All the details are on bootcrewmedia.com. bootcrewmedia.com, and on social media at Boo Crew Media. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Blaine Loop with Forte Realty. Blaine is the man. Blaine is hyped up for this coming Sunday. Blaine will be watching and cheering on the Tigers, and he wants to cheer you on when you are looking to buy a home, sell a home, find a rental property, find somewhere for you to rent. You name it, Blaine does it all with Forte Realty. Blaine is the man. I was texting him earlier this week. He could not be more stoked for football season to start up, and football season is a good time to get into real estate. Whether, like I said, whether you want to buy a home, sell a home, you name it, anything real estate, Blaine Loop has got you. 504-858-0031 for all your housing needs. All right, Luffy, what do you want to do first? You want to kind of wrap up? Why don't we do this? We'll do the off the charts segment. that'll be a good segue for you. We can kind of clean up the off the chart segment and move on to game week, game prep. We're kind of following the same schedule that the LSU football team is following this week. Like now we're in game week. We're preparing for the Florida State game. And then we're going to give our prediction for the season, kind of look at each game briefly, maybe do a lightning round and predict what's going to happen in each and every game. And then, I don't know, we might throw a few futures out there. I know I have a couple locked in already, Luffy. I know you probably do as well. So, Luffy, do you want to start with the D-line or the DBs? I think we should start with the D-line.
Yeah, let's start with the D-line, and we can just work our way up number-wise. So we can start with number 0. Mason Smith is not going to play in the Florida State game. He is suspended. Everyone's known that by now. I don't need to say why, I don't think. And he is battling a lower ankle sprain right now. Kelly said he would have been, what did he say, doubtful or questionable for the Florida State game. So he needs to get back healthy. I don't really want him to play against Grambling if, he's banged up at all, but he does need to start practicing to get in football shape. The day we were there, he did not participate in spring and team drills, and he needs to get some running, get out there and start practicing soon. But that's a huge key factor for this D line. We know what Mason Smith can do. Top 3, maybe 1 player in the nation coming out of high school, and was hurt all last year coming off an ACL. So hugely important for this team overall as a defense. When you put Perkins and Mason Smith out there, it really changes things for us. He's got to get healthy and play this year.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we were cheated last year not getting to see him play. I mean, all this hype around him, and then all of a sudden we're sitting there and he hobbles off the field in the first game of the season, first drive on defense. I mean, it was just crazy the way it all played out. Maybe we would have won the Florida State game last year with his presence on the D-line, but it's going to be exciting if he's able to stay healthy. I think you're right, Luffy. I mean, maybe get him a few reps just to get him into the swing of things since he hadn't played a snap in a year. And even that I don't really count that because he got hurt on the first drive, but it's going to be really exciting to watch him grow this year. And, after a little bit of a disappointment last year. So,
all right, since we're moving up in the number list, I'll go with number 11, Jackson Howard, the freshman Jack type position. He ran with the third team the day we were at practice, John, but a really promising frame on him. Looks like someone who could be potentially a star in the future. Now, will we see him, soon this week? Against Florida State, probably not. I mean, but a guy who looks really good, 6'4", 240. So somebody to keep an eye on going into the future. And then I'll move to the transfer, Braden Swinson, number 13. I'm saying the numbers, trying to get myself ready too. We got a lot of transfers, a lot of new guys. Hopefully this helps some. But Braden Swinson, the transfer from Oregon, and he is going to play that jack spot behind. He will be behind the other transfer, Ovi Agofu from Texas. What number is Ovi Agofu? I'm having trouble finding it.
That is one heck of a name. It's going to be fun to pronounce.
Yeah. My buddy Cray, shout out Cray, asked me the other day for some good names on the team. I'm sorry, we skipped Ovi Agofu. This chart is little I'm looking at. He is number 2. He will be the starting jack, and he is the transfer from Texas. And then Braden Swinson will be behind him. Those guys, crucially important, after losing B.J. Ojulari this past year, need one of those 2 guys to step up and be the guy. Any thoughts on or Braden Swinson?
Yeah, I mean, one, like you said, shout out Gray, hell of a name there. That's an out the box inbox question. We always love getting those. No, it's just gonna be interesting to see kind of I've said, like, this is a young team still. BK's second year. It's going to be interesting to see how it all kind of gels together, especially with the transfers.
Yeah, two guys that are going to be important, I think. Upperclassmen, played some football. Ogofu played actually for Kelly before he went to Texas. So someone who knows what he's all about, and I think is pretty bought in. Next, we have to talk about this. Number 18, Makai Wingo. Was a beast last year, played more snaps than any other D lineman in the country, extremely productive. Hopefully we have more depth there this year, but he was out there all the time. I'd love to see him and Mason Smith on the field together. Just an absolute beast. The transfer from Missouri, played at LSU last year, obviously, and has just become a really great player here, a leader on the team, a guy who just is a grinder. I think he won the Iron Tiger not this past summer, but the summer before. Someone who's extremely important to the team and the defense.
Yeah, I agree, Luffy. It is kind of interesting. Could clarify this for the Out the Box
I
faithful?
love the D lineman in 18.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is he going to be
No,
wearing
he
18?
can wear
Or is it
18.
going to be?
No, he can wear 18. Offensive linemen are restricted to it's like
Okay, so
is
Will
it
Campbell,
75?
who is the honorary number 7, will be wearing number 55 or 56 or whatever number he is.
66, I
Or
believe.
66. Yeah, you're correct. No, I think you're right. I don't think there's anybody on the defense that has stood out to the magnitude that Makai Wingo has. He's got 2 years remaining. I mean, this is a big year for him. This is like his money year, if you will. And like you said, to see the combo of him and Mason Smith, it has the potential to be really filthy.
Yeah, and love the pick for 18. I just love watching that number. It reminds me of like Benny Logan back when he wore it. But yeah, a guy I would say he definitely deserves it. I like the pick there. And then your starting end is Savion Jones, highly rated coming out of high school, big, strong, physical, looks like a freak, needs to take the next step this year. We'll need him as a pass rusher. Had some flashes last year, but did not play a ton. Ton of snaps. He'd get, I think, around 15 snaps a game. Coaches have said some good things about him, but he is going to be really important to this D line. It's time for him to step up. He's mature player now, and he's got to be a guy out there for us. I mean, it's just no other way to put it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I have nothing else to add other than the fact that he is going to be very crucial to this D line. It's also going to be interesting. I was kind of thinking about it. It's going to be interesting to see how they kind of cycle in and out. God forbid an injury occurs, but I just have a feeling, and it's not really a surprise feeling. It's not really I'm having a feeling, but there's going to have to be some guys that step up, and I think that's a good role. For these younger guys and these transfers that are coming in to be able to supplement the strong guys that we have up front already.
Yeah, and Fitzgerald West and Bryce Langston, number 68 and 81, I think are going to be more rotational pieces if they see the field. Fitzgerald West was redshirt last year. Bryce Langston has 3 more years of eligibility left. Those are going to be rotational guys. But another starter, big number, Jacobian Guillory is it's the money year for him. He's sat behind some good defensive tackles while he was at LSU, and it's his time to step up and be a force in the middle. And he did before getting kind of set aside in the team period. Was impressive when we were at practice that day. So he'll be alongside. So if you're going to say there's 4 guys out there, it will be Jacobian Guillory, Makai Wingo, Savion Jones, and Ovie Ogofu, or 4 guys out there. Starting with Florida State, obviously Mason Smith hurt, and then Quincy Wiggins, the young end, who's in his second year, is a guy who I expect to see in there kind of behind Savion Jones. And I'm excited about him. Hasn't been playing football for that long. Did not play, growing up and throughout high school. A freak athlete who hopefully continues to develop and is a good backup this year because we're going to need him. And then Paris Shand is one of the transfers they went and got. Where is he from again, John? Now I'm blanking on where it's from. See if you can look that up. But he will be a rotational guy. Is he from? No, okay, never mind. Where's he from?
I'm pulling the card. Keep going.
All right, so then we got Taiji Hill, another young guy who we probably won't see a ton of. And then we have Jalen Lee, who Brian Kelly said the other day was the surprise of camp. He is the backup D tackle, and he will rotate in there if they trust him. And it seems like Kelly's saying he had a tough spring, but a really good fall camp is promising. And then Dylan Carpenter, a freshman, I don't think you'll see him at all much this year. It could be a redshirt year. And then Jordan Jefferson, who I think that they're high on, looked solid to me in practice that day. He will kind of go give Guillory and Makai Wingo a break up front, number 99. We've had some Jordan Jeffersons before. But, yeah, I think he's an important piece. This is his last year of college. He's played a lot of football at West Virginia, and we'll be counting on him. So, yeah. So we got the backup tackles probably in Jalen Lee and Jordan Jefferson while Mason Smith's out. Both transfers from Florida and West Virginia. Jalen Lee didn't play much at Florida, but Jefferson has a lot of ball under him.
So 3 things. One, a D lineman at Arizona. So
Arizona
came over from Arizona. Yes. 2, it's good to have another Jordan Jefferson on LSU.
Yeah.
It just seems right. And 3, like you kind of mentioned, I am looking forward to seeing Jacoby and Guillory. Just after watching him get so fired up at practice, he's been going against some of the best offensive linemen you are going to see in college football, right? Like what better practice players that you can go up against than Will Campbell and the rest of the offensive line. It's just watching him get that fired up and to just see that visible frustration on his face dealing with that. That also gives me hope for our offensive line too. So yeah, that was my thought. I mean, the guys on LSU's offensive line is going to be a stark contrast to what we started the season off with last year. They obviously kind of came into their own as the season went on, but if we already know that they're going to be this good, it's only going to make our defensive line that much better.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, the defensive line needs Mason Smith back to be elite, in my opinion, and they need him playing well. But it's a group that I think we feel okay about right now. We feel like this shouldn't hold back the team, but they're obviously got to win in the trenches in the SEC. So they went and got some transfers to build some depth in the interior. Hopefully some of the edge guys come along. They went and got 2 transfers for that jack position. But yeah, on to DBU.
DBU, wrapping up the off the charts segment for 2023. What a ride it has been, and it is only fitting that we get to defensive back University.
Yes, I'll start with J.K. Johnson because he's the transfer from Ohio State, who I think they were really high on, is hurt, possibly out for the year. Kelly has not really said much on that. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But that is one thing that is a big loss. And so your starters as of now will be, I guess, Sage Ryan, Deuce Chestnut, and Zy Alexander. Kind of all 3. I think now Deuce might be in that more of a nickel position. But we'll see what they do there. John, do we do safeties, or are we doing safeties in this as well?
I think we can go ahead and include him. I think we talked about, Sage Ryan whenever he went down in
Okay.
practice and a
Yeah,
few
so
miscellaneous deals, but
Sage listed as safety. He's played safety nickel when he's here. After J.K. Johnson's injury, and then Denver Harris, who's obviously had some struggles, ran with the third team whenever John and I were at practice that day. I don't think they're counting on him yet, so they'll have Zai and Zai is kind of your number one corner. He guarded Malik for most of their practice, and then Deuce Chestnut maybe slid inside, and then now they're sliding Savion. I'm sorry, and now they're sliding Sage Ryan to that outside corner spot. Seems like those are going to be the starters there, and then your safeties, Major Burns, and your safeties are going to be Major Burns, and then Greg Brooks, who's kind of plays that hybrid, more of a in the box type safety, who's a playmaker. Good to have some experience back there with Greg Brooks and Major Burns, but two guys that have not stayed healthy throughout their career. So those two guys have to stay healthy, in my opinion, for the secondary to be good. Behind them, you have the freshman and Javian Toviano. And then Andre Sam is another guy who's kind of going to be a starter who had a good practice. He just changed his number, I saw. Now I'm forgetting I think he changed it to. I don't even know what he changed it to, but I saw a tweet saying he changed his number. But Andre Sam was number 19. Is also he's a transfer. He has 1 year left. He's a 5th-year guy, or maybe 6 year. No, I think it's his 6th year of college. Played a lot of ball. It seems like the coaches are high on him, and he'll be an important piece back there. They're going to kind of need everybody. You got Kylan Jackson back, or is a freshman as well. Ryan Yates, a freshman safety. Jordan Allen, another safety with 4 years left. He was a redshirt last year. And Laterrence Welsh, who played some special teams and stuff for us last year, is a backup corner. So I know everyone wants to know about Denver Harris. We don't know. I mean, we really don't know what the deal is there, unless, John, you know something that I don't, which please tell us.
I don't have any inside information on this one. I do not have any inside information.
But it seems like the coaches don't fully trust him yet. He was with third team. This is a group that I think most people consider LSU's biggest question mark this year, which is weird, having the offensive line be locked down, we think, and then the defense back. But we thought the same thing going into last year. Obviously, we had the ULL kid, who I'm now blanking on his name, and then we had what's his name as well? Jared Bernard Converse. So we had two guys that came in last year and were really, really solid for us. And we kind of are relying on that to happen again. You've got to hit on those transfer portal guys when you're thin. Kelly's hit on that before. So I think they are concerned about this position, and I think that's what why I go back to the O-line and saying Savion Jones and Quincy Wiggins and Mason Smith are so important, because the defensive line's got to put pressure on the quarterback to take some heat off the back end of the defense. Oh, and then the freshman Ashton. Sorry, I almost forgot Ashton. Running with the second team, his run with the one some 3-star recruit. Excited about him. Really, really am excited about him. It'll be interesting to see how much he plays this week against Florida State.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with all of our defensive backs. I think Major Burns, Sage Ryan, Greg Brooks. I think the key to our DB's success this year is them staying healthy. I think I loved watching Greg Brooks last year. He had probably the most explosive hits, in the DB room. I am excited to see Toviano Young coming in and see how much he can contribute this year. But we just got to stay healthy. I mean, it's crucial, guys that throughout their career have struggled with that, um, and that we live and die by them staying healthy. I truly do think that.
Yeah, and I mentioned Deshaun Womack for the defensive end, right? Spot. Did I miss him completely?
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, sorry. I mean, I just looked down. I was looking at Andre Sam, but I think Deshaun Womack was a 5-star. Hopefully, we'll see him kind of rotate in as part of that rotation at end. Sorry, but I just want
I
to
was
mention.
looking up a stat. I was looking up some betting odds for some futures. I was paying attention, believe me. But
A lot of defense
I
linemen to get to, a lot of defense linemen to get to, a lot of corners and safeties to get to. That's both positions. You gotta have a lot of guys. So sorry if I skipped over him earlier. But yeah, I mean DBs, it's a concern for me. It worries me, especially with the way offenses are these days. So
I think you should tweet at Deshaun Womack and apologize for missing him. um,
yeah, well, I
well,
got him
Luffy,
though.
I
So
think Luffy, I want to be the first to um, say thank you to you for all the research and following recruiting and just the amount of time that you put into getting your information for these segments together. I think I speak on behalf of everybody. Out of me and you, you're the guy that is the depth chart guy and the recruiting guy, and I think that's pretty obvious. So I want to say that you did really well on the 2023 off the charts segment, and I want to invite you to clean up the off the charts
definitely.
segment as we move into game week.
The only way we're going to clean up is with Workbox. If you need a storage container, you need a portable restroom rental, you need the cleanest porta potties in the business. You're having a party, game day party, something like that. You have to call Workbox LLC and get you a porta potty, roll off dumpster. If you're redoing your house after you bought it from Blaine, and you need to gut it out, and you need a storage container as well. Call Workbox LLC. It's 225-343-4886. It's 225-343-4886. Call Workbox LLC.
All right, it's game week. We already know it. We've been talking about it. The hype is real. LSU's traveling to Orlando. Have they left yet, Luffy? Will they have left by the time this episode drops, or would they leave on?
The game is Sunday, so I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I would assume they'd leave Friday.
That would make sense to me. I mean, unless BK wants to get up there Thursday and
Now they could, but it being
acclimated to
kind
the
of a Sunday
weather.
night game and it being the first game, I don't know their exact schedule. So I would assume they would practice here tomorrow, right? And
That
maybe
would make
practice
sense.
Friday.
That would make
I
sense
would
to me. I
assume
mean,
they.
I think if they leave Friday, they got to get up there early. Get a practice in, get a chance to rest. And then Saturday is the day before game day. I don't know. This would be a great time. This would be a great question for a guy that used to play football for LSU. It really would be. All right, so I guess I'm going to frame this question like this: what has to go right? Obviously, this LSU football team is in a lot different position than the LSU football team was going into the game last year, right? You had brand new coach in Brian Kelly. You had Jaden Daniels coming in, running for his life. Hadn't had a full year at LSU to, I guess, round out his game. You have Harold Perkins, who we didn't even. I mean, you probably knew who Harold Perkins was before the season, but a lot of people didn't. I'll be honest. You did mention him before the season. I remember that you did, but I didn't know it was going to be like that, right? So we didn't know Mason Smith was going to get hurt. How is this game going to be different this year compared to last year?
John, you know how many snaps Harold Perkins took, or how many defensive snaps he took last year in the Florida State game?
Is it zero?
Yeah, it's 0. I think he had 12 snaps, and they were all special teams. So that'll be something different for them to handle this year for sure. We know what not Perk 40, Perk 4 now is. Um, so yeah, I think the keys of the game for LSU are run the ball and take care of the ball. Don't turn it over. And yeah, but don't fumble punts, and we can hopefully run the ball this year with the offensive lineman. It looks like Diggs is going to be healthy unless something were to happen this week. Knock on wood. To be the back out there it's probably the feature back with Josh Williams. I think still maybe a little banged up. We'll see. But yeah, I think if they run the ball and take care of it, then we'll win the game.
I think I agree with that, Lovey. Obviously, every year, like when I haven't had LSU football for this long, I get excited and I want to get maybe a little over aggressive. I think we're gonna, we'll get to score predictions, but I think we're gonna win by 10 points, 2 touchdowns, somewhere in that range. I think we're gonna kind of pick up where we left off last year. I just, it's a 5 versus what is Florida State, number 8. Top 10 matchup to start off the season. There's a lot riding on this. It is, in Orlando, which I don't think really plays a factor other than if that hurricane that was moving through Florida the past, week, or I don't even know when it's supposed to hit. If that even plays a factor, I don't know. But I think this LSU team is just worlds different than last year, and I think we know what we have, and I can't imagine it. I can't imagine it. Just say Florida State got better, right? You just say they got better. I just have to believe that BK and Jaden Daniels and the whole LSU football team has gotten more better than what Florida State was able to do in the past year. So I'm thinking we're going to kind of pick up where we left off towards the end of the season, and to be more of a performance by this LSU team. That
you back?
Score prediction.
All right.
Yeah, I'm back.
Sorry, Johnny, going out. Did you give a score prediction?
I did not.
Okay, sorry. You went out for a second.
I invited you to go first. I got you going first.
All right. Hopefully that it just got your audio, but if not, we'll still get your prediction. I'm going to go 32-28 LSU.
Wow. Okay. So by the way, we'll go ahead and back up. I don't have the over under total. Luffy, if you could pull that up real quick, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. LSU, like you said earlier, is a -2.5 point favorite. I believe that's what LSU was last year. I think it was either that or -2, and they lost by 1 or something.
Yeah, the line was around the same. It did move around a little bit towards the end because I think a lot of people in Louisiana like to gamble.
Yeah. So yours covers the spread, and I believe I would imagine the over under is going to be like what 54 or something.
It's 56.
And always something like that. Okay,
yeah.
56. So yours hits the under, but it does cover LSU's spread. I'm thinking this is going
right.
What's over. That? 32-28?
32-28.
Well, yeah, that's horrible math on my part.
Football math, John. Come on. We got to get our football math back. We'll cut that so doesn't hear it.
I'm too lazy to cut it. And people already know I'm an idiot. So, but surprise, I messed up some math on a podcast. All right, I'm thinking this is going to be like a 38-24 type game. 38-24. I'm thinking LSU is going to put up a lot of points. I think they're going to kind of run the ball. Obviously, that kind of stinks as a score prediction because the first game, the first half, I could see going kind of slow just as both teams kind of knock some of the rust off.
Yeah,
But I could see, I really, this game's going to tell us a lot about how the season's going to go, right? And I just have a feeling that you have this confidence in Brian Kelly that you had last year, but it was just everything was too new. Like this year, we've seen what he can do, and it's only going to get better, right? Um, I think it's going to be a good game. I hate kind of going a high scoring game on the first game, but you know what? That's why you take the over because you only live once, and LSU is going to cover handily the
total
Seminoles,
points last year
especially
47. So
especially since it's a revenge game. Think about that.
yeah,
You got to factor that in.
got to factor that in. Hungry
All
dog.
right, so I got 38-24. You got 32-28.
Yeah,
We'll see. We will revisit that. Both hit the over though, so definitely take the over. I was going to regardless of um, pretty much anything because I don't take
got
unders. And
an X factor player, maybe not someone who's a star, or I feel like everyone I picked could kind of be considered um,
oh,
star.
by the way, so a little headline that we didn't mention today. I don't think this is going to make or break the game, considering that we've been without him for the past two season openers. John
Oh
Emery
yeah,
will be
yeah.
out for game one, so he will not be a key player in this game. But no, I
And
mean,
Armani
I
Goodwin
just
as well. And that poor kid, it seems like he can't get healthy.
who'd you say? You kind of broke up.
Armani Goodwin.
Yeah. Um, No, I mean, I think Josh Williams, like you said, LSU is going to try to run the ball a lot. I think Josh Williams has a big game. Um, I'd love to see Malik Neighbors just have two or three touchdowns in this game. That would be electric. I do want to. I mean, obviously everybody's pointing at Jaden Daniels, right? But what I want to see out of Jaden Daniels is not necessarily like a huge stat line or anything, but it's one of those things that's not a stat. I want to see him look more comfortable in the pocket. I want to see him go through his progressions, check his reads, read the defense before he snaps the ball. I want to see his growth in the past year. I really that in my opinion is going to be the most probably interesting storyline for me heading into the season. I just want to see his comfortability in the pocket and kind of those things that you can't really quantify. Um,
You have a you have a okay, I'll go Mason Taylor. Is that not really a if you're going is
no,
that too
I think that's fair because I mean, although he had a good season last year, I think but that's going to kind of piggyback on whether Jaden Daniels is going through his
sure.
progressions and spreading the ball around and running whenever he needs to and not just because he feels like he has to, right? So,
Yeah.
no,
And
I
then
like that.
I'd say Logan Diggs if not if I for on the offensive side. And then defensively, I think it needs to be a defensive lineman. So I'll go Savion Jones.
Yeah, I like it. I'd
I'm
like to
hoping it's
see
Savion.
Gil.
I'm hoping that's someone that we're not kind of expecting to be a breakout, and he's able to come out there and put pressure on Travis.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Guillory kind of get in
Yeah,
and
I
see
like
where
that.
he's going to fit in the mix as well. So we're both riding with the D line, and I kind of took the most mainstream pick you could possibly take as far as an offense player, but for a little bit different reasons than you might think. So we both have LSU winning, we both have LSU covering the spread, and we both have the over hitting. So that is that. All right, let's do a lightning round, fly through the rest of the schedule. Grambling State, I think that one, is what it's going to be. It's going to be a blowout in Tiger Stadium, first game back. Going to be a good time. All right, let's see. LSU then travels to Mississippi State on September 16th. That's an 11 a.m. game, Luffy. I don't know
Tough
if you knew
game.
that.
Tough game.
Tough game.
Yeah.
Tough game. But
I knew it was 11.
well, yeah, the fact that it's 11, I don't see Mississippi State being that good, with the tragedy of Mike Leach last year. I don't see that. I don't see that being a loss, right? I don't see us going up there and losing that, although it's at 11 a.m. I don't like 11 a.m. kickoffs. I don't think really anybody does, but I think we win that game. Do you agree?
This is a tough game for me. I think we lose 2 games. I'll go ahead and say I just don't know which 2 we'll lose. They got everybody back. Will Rogers is back for his 100th year. I like their DC. We tried to hire him here, who is now their head coach, Arnett. 11 a.m. Hopefully we can squeeze out a victory up there. But that place will be full. Their first, big game of the season. They will be ringing the cowbells, and we'll have to wake up and get off to a hot start, unlike what we did against Tennessee last year.
That is one thing I didn't consider. I do not like the early morning cowbell, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. The following week, LSU heads back to Tiger Stadium. I believe last year when LSU played Arkansas, we looked very sloppy. I believe that was the game where I think it was like freezing up there. It was like really cold during that game, if I remember correctly.
Coming off Bama, so
yeah, we got them a little.
That was an 11 a.m. game, John.
Why is this game so early in the season?
It's weird, but like you see, Ole Miss is also early. Ole Miss is usually like the last weekend or second to last weekend in October, or it's usually second to last weekend in October. Sorry.
Yeah, that's weird. I'm just noticing that.
Yeah, this also could be a tough game. We really don't know what state and what Arkansas, what that's going to look like. They do have the quarterback back, KJ, so that could be a tough game. Hopefully that's a night game here in Tiger Stadium, but we'll see.
Yes. So, all right. I'm going win again as well. All right. Then the following week we head up to Ole Miss. I think this could be this has your typical letdown scenario. You got the traitor Walker Howard going over to Ole Miss. You got Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Jackson Dart coming back for a second season.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Obviously, come back. It's kind of a, if I were to see him on the other sideline, I'd be like, all right, let's go. Let's get this over with. But yeah, you're right. I mean, Jackson Dart coming back, Lane Kiffin, doing his thing up at Ole Miss. Looks like he's having a pretty good time.
Best running back in the country. They've upgraded the O-line through the portal. They've upgraded the D-line and a couple corners through the portal. We'll see if that defense has changed. They have Alabama's old defense coordinator from last year. He left Bama and went to Ole Miss. So an upgraded defensive coordinator for Kiffin, in my opinion. And it's a big year. A lot of expectation for them up there.
Yes. All right. The next weekend, it's actually 2 road games in a row, which is kind of weird as well. October 7th, LSU takes on Missouri at Missouri. I think that's going to be a win. I think you probably agree with that. Then the following weekend, LSU returns home to play Auburn. Going to be interesting to see what Hugh Freeze does with the Auburn War Eagles. They're not the Tigers. We've said that many times on this podcast, but I think this is going to be a win, just given the turnover in coaching over there. Do you agree?
Yeah, they completely revamped the offense. This is probably like a LSU type deal where we didn't really know. No one knew what we had kind of going into last year. So same deal there with Auburn. Auburn always seems to be a close game. They played us close last year, Don. I don't know if you remember that game, but had to come back to win that one. So yeah, hopefully we can win that game though. And then we come back home. We play Army. I think Coach Kelly was not happy about this. I think he said that this was the game. He said he told Scott Woodward that wasn't going to happen anymore. Even though it's weird because Notre Dame always plays Navy, but he's like, I don't want to play the service academies. This is my cupcake game. Like they're going to be ready to go. Like I want it to be a rent a win. I don't have to play Army, who's gotten the best of Navy over the last couple of years. Solid head coach there. But hopefully that'll be a win. And then as we head into our bye against everyone knows first weekend in November. Or do you have any thoughts on Army first? Sorry.
Any thoughts on the Bama game? I think Nick Saban's going to be looking for revenge. Everybody kind of thinks that Alabama's not going to be what they were. Everybody thinks they're kind of done, and the Nick Saban era is kind of falling off. I, however, do not believe that. I could probably see us, losing this game, especially at Alabama. I hate going to Alabama. It's just, I don't feel good about that one at all.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to ask you. I didn't mean to skip over you on the Army. If you have any thoughts on Army.
No, I got us winning that one. Like,
okay,
yeah, it's gonna be a close game, but I think I got us winning that one.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, Bama, like you said, revenge year. They're bringing a lot back defensively, and it looks like they're going to line up and try to run it down people's throats and. Big.
How about Aaron Anderson go off that game? How about that?
Yeah, that would be nice. But yeah, going to be tough to go to their place. That they got, they'll have revenge on their mind. It'll be interesting to see up until that point. I feel, we'll have a better feel for that game as the season goes along.
Yep. LSU the following weekend heads back home and plays Florida. I think we're going to win that game just because I hate Florida as well. I don't hate anybody, but, if I could hate, then I would hate Florida. Do you agree, Luffy?
I can't stand Florida. Just seeing them.
That's a good way to say hate without saying hate.
Gets me fired up. I hope we beat them by 100. It does scare me week after Alabama. Coming back home late in the season, it's tough. Anything can happen. A&M beat us last year. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yes. And then we go to Georgia State where tuition is handled. I can't remember the rest of the lyrics. But we play. Man, you thought I was about to start spitting like Drake, huh? No, we play Georgia State at home in the second to last game of the season. I think we both are going to have that as a win. And then our typical A&M game, A&M coming to Tiger Stadium. I think it's going to be I think that one's going to be a win as well. I think Jimbo's kind of running his course over there. Thoughts on the A&M game, Luffy?
It's a revenge game. If we lose this game, I'll be very, very angry. That's my thoughts on that game.
Okay. Well, so I think
think about this. Potentially could end Jimbo's time at A&M.
Would be interesting, and then Brian Kelly probably hires him as ROC, and then he ends up right back. No, I'm kidding. All right, so I got us at 10-2 with losses to Ole Miss and Alabama on the road. I do also have a feeling that it could be better than that. I think that's the most realistic prediction that I've ever given on this podcast.
Yeah, no.
Luffy, you said.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 10-2.
So you said you got us winning 10.
Yeah, I don't know what I think Bama's an obvious one to pick, and I think we'll have a letdown spot somewhere else in the season because as of right now we're favored in every game besides Alabama. So
So we do have the second highest odds favorite to win the Heisman in Jaden Daniels behind Caleb Williams. LSU's over under win total. I'm looking at 9.5 right there. So unless you have something different, Luffy, we're both cashing that one. LSU to win the Natty I have just on Google. I haven't locked that in yet or anything, but that's plus 1,200 to win the SEC is plus 460, and to win the SEC West is plus 190. I think if you beat Bama, that winning the SEC West is I don't want to say a lock, but you know, the road to win the SEC West goes through Alabama on November 4th or whatever.
Yeah, I'm trying to make the playoff odds. I'm trying to find it, but my computer's loading so slow. Give me a
CFP odds plus 12. Oh, wait, this says plus 1,200 or better.
I'm clicking on it. Mine's just not loading. Hold on one
It says
second.
plus 1,200, but then this says to win national championships plus 1,200. It says to win national championship and to make
no, I have plus 400 to make the playoffs. Yeah, plus 400 to make the playoffs.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, I could be. I'm looking at. I don't even know what this is. I just googled LSU futures odds, and I'm on Madison.com. I don't even know what this is. It's the Wisconsin State Journal, so I don't know how reliable that is, but yeah. I mean, I think the general consensus is that one, you have the year two, trio of Kim Mulkey, Jay Johnson, and Brian Kelly would complete that if he were to win the Natty. I think this season could easily be a season. I mean, like that we win it all, but at the same time, I mean, you got to go through the gauntlet to get there. I mean, regardless of if we beat Bama and our season goes well, we got to play Georgia in the SEC championship, and then do we make the playoff in the fourth spot, or if we lose to Bama, do we sneak into the fourth spot if Georgia beats Bama in the SEC championship? Like, there's all sorts of scenarios. I love playing them out. But I think what I'm going to do is just lock in my over-under season total wins, the over. I think I'm going to lock in maybe sprinkle a little bit to win the SEC West. Put a little bit on the Natty and the SEC just because I'll be happy that I did if it ends up working out.
No doubt.
All right.
With
that,
we better come back here happy. We better come back here happy next week, John.
We're coming back happy. This might be a mortgage play. If you have the deed to your house or the deed to your parents' house, make sure to wager that on this game. LSU minus 2.5. And with that, we are so excited for football season to be rolling. We want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of the Out of the Box podcast and all the support along the way. We're going to tailgate this year. We're going to have a great time. We're excited to get back into the swing of football season. I can't believe it's already here. Want to give a huge shout out to all of our sponsors, Workbox LLC, Blaine Loop with Forte Realty, and we forgot to mention the House Bar in Tigerland. That's the best place to go to watch LSU football games, to go there before for a beer, to go there after for a beer, to get you some pizza, best pizza in Tigerland. Jeff and Casey over there are our guys at Out the Box. Make sure to head on over to the House Bar in Tigerland this football season, and school just started. So that's one of the, Luffy, you and I spent a lot of time there, especially when the semester was getting rolling. So shout out to all of our great sponsors. Shout out to the Boot Crew Media Network, bootcrewmedia.com, and on social media at Boot Crew Media. And with that, Luffy, I know I asked you to do it at the beginning of the show, but I need your best burner. Beautiful.